In her Madison Avenue office, Patty's fingers flew across the keyboard as she desperately worked on her screen. It was a proposal for a new cosmetics company campaign, due in 3 hours. But she couldn't concentrate. She kept glancing at her smartphone screen. It had been 3 years since her divorce. She now lived with her son Ryan in a rental apartment on the Upper West Side. The divorce had been amicable. When her ex-husband received a transfer to Seattle, they'd made the mutual decision to respect each other's life paths. There had been no fighting over alimony, and they'd calmly discussed and settled Ryan's custody. But her family was different. Her mother Catherine, in particular, viewed the divorce as a shameful failure. For her mother, an executive member of the Greenwich Country Club, her daughter's divorce was an unbearable stain on their reputation. "Hey, Mom." Patty turned at the sound of Ryan's voice as he returned from school at 3 p.m. Her 14-year-old son stood beside her with a maturity beyond his years. At school, he was known as an influencer with 3,000 followers who skillfully navigated social media. But at home, he was her gentle, thoughtful, and irreplaceable confidant. "Aren't you excited about Grandpa's birthday trip?" Patty couldn't help but give a wry smile at Ryan's words. The whole family was supposed to go to a luxury resort in the Hamptons this weekend to celebrate her father William's birthday. It was 4th of July weekend, and the Hamptons, famous as a summer retreat, was entering its most exclusive peak season when reservations were hardest to get. Her father, an executive at the prestigious real estate firm Reynolds and Partners, had become increasingly concerned with keeping up appearances lately. She'd even heard whispers criticizing her as old-fashioned for continuing to attend church every Sunday. She'd grown particularly distant from her sister Liz, as if they lived in completely different worlds. Liz owned a high-end boutique on Greenwich Avenue and had over 100,000 Instagram followers. In her eyes, her older sister's life as a single mother working at an advertising agency seemed like nothing but a failure. "Didn't Aunt Liz say she'd take care of all the reservations?" Patty nodded slightly at Ryan's question. Indeed, 2 months ago, Liz had declared in the family group chat, "The Grand Marina Resort is super booked this time of year. But I can get special reservations." Her sister had spoken proudly, but since then, there had been no concrete information. Despite several messages asking for confirmation, all she got in response were vague replies of, "Don't worry, I've got it covered." Her parents were the same way. Mother Catherine remained preoccupied with her standing in the local society women's club and keeping up appearances on social media. Father simply went along with whatever Mother wanted. Patty could sense their subtle disdain for her $85,000 annual salary lifestyle. The morning of the weekend, Patty slipped into a newly bought dress. Though not a luxury brand, she had made her best effort to look stylish. Her father's birthday present was a handmade photo album. She and Ryan had carefully selected old family photos and added comments to each one. There was a photo of her father giving her a piggyback ride when she was little, memories of the family trip to Disneyland. The gentle smiles captured in those photos now felt like they belonged to a distant past. "Do you think Grandpa will like it?" Ryan whispered from the passenger seat. It was a 2-hour drive from Greenwich to the Hamptons. The summer sunlight streamed brightly through the Uber's windows. Festive music celebrating Independence Day played on the driver's radio. "I'm sure it will make a wonderful memory." The Grand Marina Resort, modeled after the Montauk Yacht Club, was a luxury hotel that symbolized the Hamptons. Its pure white exterior walls with deep blue window frames gleamed like a jewel under the clear sky. On the private beach stretching to the horizon, parasols were lined up neatly as celebrities enjoyed their summer vacations. High-end cars like Mercedes-Benz and BMWs kept arriving at the main entrance. It was 4th of July weekend, a special time when America's wealthy gathered at this renowned summer retreat. Doormen in uniforms greeted guests with warm smiles. Their cream-colored uniforms created an atmosphere as formal as a European castle. "We're here." Patty took a deep breath in the back seat of the Uber. She gently squeezed Ryan's hand and wiped the sweat from her forehead with her palm. The strong sunlight reflected off the asphalt. After thanking the driver politely, mother and son slowly walked toward the hotel. As they stepped into the luxurious lobby, they were greeted by elegant piano music. The chandelier's light cast rainbow reflections on the marble floor. The air-conditioned atmosphere carried the distinctive refined fragrance of a luxury hotel. In the lobby bar, guests were already engaged in cheerful conversation, holding champagne glasses filled with ice. There was no sign of the family yet. As they walked toward the front desk, Patty checked the wrapping on the handmade album she'd brought. The ribbon she'd carefully chosen was navy blue, her father's favorite color. Photos of 3-year-old Ryan fishing with his grandfather, family barbecues, Christmas memories, each picture held precious memories. "Welcome." At the front desk, a young female staff member greeted them with a gentle smile. The name, Sarah, was engraved on her white blouse's nameplate. Pearl earrings softly gleamed at her neck. "Could you please check the Reynolds reservation?" "I'm Patricia Reynolds." "One moment, please." Sarah began typing on her computer. Her fingers seemed to hesitate slightly. She checked the screen several times, occasionally giving Patty apologetic looks. "I'm terribly sorry, but..." She looked away from the screen and gazed at Patty apologetically. Though trying to maintain a professional demeanor, her eyes clearly showed distress. "We only have 2 rooms reserved under Reynolds. Could you please check again?" "It's Patricia Reynolds." A familiar laugh echoed from behind. Turning around, there stood her sister Liz, dressed in a new Gucci dress with Louis Vuitton sunglasses perched on her head. Next to her were their parents. Mother wore the latest Hermès bag on her shoulder, and father was dressed in a navy suit from a top tailor. "Oh, the reservations for me and our parents are definitely there." Liz pulled out her latest iPhone with a malicious smile. The Instagram posting screen was already open. "As for your reservation, I might have forgotten." Mother Catherine adjusted the collar of her expensive Chanel tweed jacket while casting a cold glance. Her eyes showed no trace of the maternal warmth that had once cherished her daughter. "There's a motel nearby. That would be more suitable for you too." Father William simply remained silent, averting his eyes. His expensive Bulgari watch coldly reflected the sunlight. He stood straight, as if trying to maintain his dignity as an executive of Reynolds and Partners. "Dad." Patty's voice trembled. Her fingers tightened around the handmade album. She couldn't help but notice her cheap nail polish chipping. "Grandpa." Ryan stepped forward. In a voice remarkably composed for a 14-year-old, he called out to his grandfather. His hand holding the smartphone trembled slightly. "This is your birthday present. Mom and I made it together." Father glanced at the offered album for just a moment. A flicker of hesitation seemed to cross his eyes. But he quickly turned away and began walking toward the reception counter. His leather shoes echoed unnaturally loud against the marble floor. "We're going to dinner." Mother's voice held not a trace of its former warmth. She deliberately raised her voice to announce their reservation at the upscale restaurant, Le Marine. "Of course, don't even think about following us," Liz added maliciously while positioning her smartphone. The camera lens captured Patty and Ryan. "This will definitely get lots of likes." Still holding their luggage, Patty embraced her son's shoulders. She desperately fought back tears. In the luxury hotel lobby, she could feel the painful stares of those around them. The doorman, front desk staff, everyone awkwardly averted their eyes. "Let's go, Ryan." Without looking back, mother and son left the lobby with heavy steps. Behind them, the sound of Liz's high heels echoed lightly. And the camera shutter sound capturing what should have been Father's 65th birthday commemorative photo lingered coldly in their ears. To call another Uber, Patty picked up her smartphone. Her fingers reflected in the screen trembled slightly. Her cheap nails gleamed emptily in the light reflecting off the luxury hotel's exterior walls. Ryan stood silently beside his mother, quietly operating his smartphone. His eyes held a determination she had never seen before. The room at the seaside motel was cleaner than she had imagined. Patty sat in an old chair by the window, quietly crying. The cool air leaking from the air conditioner gently caressed her flushed cheeks. She could hear waves in the distance. It was a peaceful afternoon silence, far removed from the glittering bustle of the luxury hotel. The sound of Ryan taking out his laptop from his backpack on the bed echoed. Her son said nothing and silently began typing on the keyboard. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok posting screens were open side by side on the display. Patty started to place her hand on her son's shoulder. But seeing Ryan's expression, she stopped. Eyes filled with determination beyond his 14 years. On his smartphone was saved an audio recording of what had happened in the hotel lobby. "Mom, please wait a moment." The first post started on Twitter. "Family betrayal at a luxury hotel. My mother and I were excluded from my grandfather's birthday." Then, a more detailed explanation was posted on Instagram. The post included the audio data of the conversation in the hotel lobby. Liz's mocking voice, mother's cold words, and father's silence. Everything was meticulously recorded. On TikTok, a short video taken in the hotel lobby was posted. Liz in her luxury brands, maliciously smiling while holding her smartphone. The moment father turned his back. Mother casting her cold glance. And the backs of Patty and Ryan as they walked away with slumped shoulders. Finally, photos from the handmade album were added. Old family photos. Father and mother smiling with their arms around each other. Christmas memories of Liz and Patty standing together happily. And today's cold stares at the hotel. The stark contrast between past and present. Posts complete. Ryan's voice echoed in the quiet room. The first responses came from Ryan's classmates. His posts, with 3,000 followers at school, began spreading instantly. After 1 hour, local Connecticut influencers started retweeting the posts. After 2 hours, prominent New York bloggers began writing articles. After 3 hours, an email requesting coverage arrived from the local Fox News station. Patty's smartphone wouldn't stop ringing. Inquiries from relatives. Concerned voices from church acquaintances. Encouraging messages from old classmates. By dusk, the posts had received over 100,000 retweets, and critical comments began flooding Liz's past posts. Ryan, this is. Patty gazed at her son's profile. His face illuminated by the setting sun was no longer that of a child. I wanted to protect you, Mom. At those words, Patty hugged her son tightly. The sound of waves grew louder. And as smartphone notifications continued to ring, mother and son silently watched the sunset. Just then, Patty's smartphone rang. The screen showed, Dad. Patty stared at the screen for a long time, unable to reach for the answer button. During their luxurious dinner at the hotel, the family was still unaware of what was unfolding around them. Liz was absorbed as usual in taking perfect photos for social media. However, the response to those posts was about to be very different from what she expected. In the motel room, Patty quietly exhaled. She was beginning to sense that everything would change from tomorrow. Independence Day fireworks began launching in the distant sky. The light and sound seemed to herald the beginning of a new era. In the suite at the luxury Grand Marina Resort, the Reynolds family had fallen into a state of panic. What have we done? Mother Catherine threw off her Chanel tweed jacket and collapsed onto the sofa. Her face with smeared makeup clearly showed dismay. Her smartphone screen displayed message after message from acquaintances. Condemning voices from Greenwich Country Club members. I've lost 20,000 Instagram followers in just 1 hour. Liz cried out with a pale face. Her influence as a high-end boutique owner heavily depended on her social media follower count. All her endorsement contracts with luxury brands were based on those numbers. And those numbers were decreasing by the minute. The company has contacted me. Father William clutched his phone with trembling hands. His position as an executive at Reynolds and Partners had begun to seriously waver. The trust he had built in the real estate industry was about to crumble in an instant. The local Fox News station had begun live broadcasting in front of the hotel. The dark side of upper class, family betrayal on Independence Day. The caption scrolled across the bottom of the screen. It's not my fault. Liz suddenly raised her voice. It was Mother who started it. Saying, "We can't let those two in." Nonsense. You were in charge of the reservations. Mother stood up and confronted Liz. Her perfectly styled hair was now disheveled. Father had lost his words, staring out the window. Independence Day fireworks colored the night sky. Those fireworks they once watched together as a family. The smartphones kept ringing. A message from Greenwich Country Club. Mrs. Catherine, an emergency meeting has been called to discuss your executive membership status. An email from Reynolds and Partners Secretary. Mr. William, you will be asked to explain this incident at tomorrow's board meeting. Liz's boutique's Instagram was flooded with critical comments. The next morning, the situation developed further. At the Reynolds and Partners board meeting, Father's promotion was cancelled. In the conservative real estate industry, a social media scandal was fatal. The chairman's words were harsh. Our company has always valued family. This incident shakes that very foundation. Mother received notice of expulsion from Greenwich Country Club. She was also asked to resign from her position as chair of the Women's Association. Her social status, built up over many years, crumbled like a sandcastle. Liz's high-end boutique saw a sharp drop in sales. Contracts with luxury brands were cancelled one after another. The collapse of her social media image directly impacted her real business. Local media continued reporting on the Reynolds family daily. Reporters began gathering around their home. Father was diagnosed with depression and decided to take early retirement. Mother moved in with her parents, effectively separating from Father. Liz was forced to close her store and began preparing for bankruptcy. Even relatives stopped contacting them. The Reynolds name, once a source of family pride, had become a burden. In Greenwich's upscale residential area, Father began shutting himself in his study alone. Through the window, he could see the well-maintained garden. The sight of young Patty and Liz running around in that garden now seemed like a distant memory. Mother deleted all her social media accounts. All the photos, videos, and proud status updates she posted daily. Everything vanished meaninglessly. Liz set her Instagram account, once boasting 100,000 followers, to private. Ironically, her last post remained a photo of Father's birthday dinner. The family toasting with perfect smiles. The critical comments on that post exceeded 10,000. The collapse of the Reynolds family became a tale of karma in the social media age, told across America. A modern moral story capturing the moment and the superficial life of the upper class crumbled at the brave action of a 14-year-old boy. At summer's end, Greenwich's streets maintained their elegant appearance. However, the vitality never returned to the Reynolds mansion. In Manhattan's Upper West Side, autumn sunlight streamed into the apartment where Patty was finishing a new proposal. "Mom, look!" Ryan, working at his computer in the living room, called out. The screen displayed an email from a major publishing house. "We'd like to discuss specific terms for publishing your book." The events from 3 months ago had brought unexpected developments. Ryan's posts had garnered significant attention as a symbolic case study of modern family dynamics, social media influence, and generational value differences. Multiple publishers had approached them about turning their experience into a book. Ryan, with remarkable composure for a 14-year-old, had put their entire experience into words. A mother and son's love, family betrayal, and how social media as a new force was changing traditional social structures. Changes were happening at Patty's workplace too. "Congratulations on your promotion, Ms. Reynolds." A promotion to creative director. Her years of capability were finally being properly recognized. Ironically, this incident had led to broader recognition of Patty's sincere character and work ethic. Meanwhile, the family home in Greenwich was wrapped in silence. After his early retirement, Father William continued visiting a suburban clinic. His depression treatment wasn't progressing as hoped. The chairman's words from Reynolds and partners had deeply wounded his heart. "There is no credibility in the real estate industry for someone who betrays family." Mother Catherine had left Greenwich and was living a quiet life with her sister in Boston. A complete withdrawal from society. Her social media accounts remained deleted. Her occasional messages to Patty were tinged with regret. However, she still couldn't find the words for a direct apology. Liz was in the midst of bankruptcy proceedings. Her high-end boutique had closed, and her Instagram account remained abandoned. Her once glamorous posts remained as ironic records. "Hey, Ryan." One Sunday morning, walking back from church, Patty asked her son, "Do you regret it? Making those posts?" Ryan looked at the autumn scenery as he answered, "Mom, you taught me the importance of living honestly." Those words brought tears to Patty's eyes. New supporters had also emerged. The church community embraced them with deeper bonds. Workplace colleagues, Ryan's school teachers. Meeting sincere people with genuine relationships, not superficial ones, had become a new source of hope. Family truth, lessons from the Reynolds family. Major media outlets across America still occasionally covered this incident. Karma in the social media age. The downfall brought by vanity and pretense. And the courage to speak truth. The story continued to be told from various perspectives. Christmas was approaching. A small tree decorated the living room of their Upper West Side apartment. Though modest, the ornaments cast a warm glow. Several presents lay beneath it. Ryan handed over an envelope postmarked from Boston. The sender was Mother Catherine. With trembling hands, Patty opened it to find a card. "Patty, Ryan. Merry Christmas. And I'm sorry." Brief words. But they carried a small hope, breaking 3 months of silence. Outside the window, the first snow of the season began falling quietly. As it painted Manhattan's cityscape white, announcing the arrival of a new season, Patty watched the snowy scene with her son. Next Independence Day, they would surely see a different landscape. But for now, in this quiet flow of time, mother and son felt their solid bond. The power of truth was carving out a new path. Perhaps it was an unexpected gift brought by this new era of social media.